Hi, I'm Joe Williams, and I want to tell you a little bit about the case that I was so privileged to get to handle. Now, Claudine and her husband got married after meeting on the bus. Glenn was in his early 40s when they met. He was a bus driver, a city bus driver. I always tease Glenn that he's the smartest bus driver that I've ever seen. He read books 6 inches thick, books about history and Russian literature, books that nobody else really reads, to be honest with you, but he was a very, very bright, intellectual man. And he was fortunate to meet Claudine a little bit later in their lives, in his 40s, and they fell in love, and this was a real love affair. Now, just a few years after their marriage, they were happily living in Queens, New York, in an apartment, enjoying married life, enjoying each other. Glenn was diagnosed with mesothelioma. This strong, fit guy who cycled every day, went to the gym, could bench press over 300 pounds. He was diagnosed with pleural mesothelioma. And because I had represented somebody in the neighborhood that they knew, they were inclined to call me, and they did. And I went and met with them in their house. And as soon as I met Glenn, I had an instant connection with him. And he was very upset and very worried about his wife. That was his entire concern, his wife. He was worried about her and what was going to happen to her, not so much him, even though he knew he had a terminal illness. And we met several times during the course of the litigation of his case to talk about the case and to just talk about things that were affecting him and his wife as they dealt and struggled through both the medical and the legal issues that confronted them as they dealt with mesothelioma. Unfortunately, Glenn got sicker and sicker and eventually passed away from mesothelioma during the pendency of his case. And then my role as the attorney went from dealing with Glenn and Claudine to just dealing with Claudine, who presented with some different issues related to the loss of her husband and the continuing of this litigation against the asbestos companies that caused him to become sick. And I met with her numerous times and talked to her about what we were trying to accomplish with her legal case. And eventually, because the case did not settle, we went to trial. And Claudine was very helpful. She came to trial every day, and we tried the case for quite a long time until we reached a settlement after many weeks of trial. And I just want to add that I'm so honored to have been able to help Glenn and Claudine in their case pursuing justice for Glenn's mesothelioma diagnosis. He was just 46 years old when he passed. A very terrible, tragic case. But through our efforts, we were able to help them seek justice for what happened to Glenn. If you're in a situation similar to Glenn and Claudine, you must have questions about mesothelioma and the litigation of a mesothelioma case. I invite you to call our office and we'll answer your questions. Thanks for listening.